So, I'm gonna start with this part because I want to get this out the way because you were already touching on it. When we talk about now that being living your truth as a trans individual is more accepting and more, it's more known. I want to talk about the controversy, if you will, of trans and non-binary and how that tends to get meshed up and your guys' feeling on it as trans women.
Well, the thing about it is, in this time that I mentioned that there's so many resources and places and organizations looking to make everyone feel seen, that if you don't want those bagels now. No, but it's become kind of a shit show because there's like no inclusive, like it's not inclusive anymore. Like, like so many people are trying to attach themselves to the trans community, and they don't know what trans even like, you know what I mean? Because they still look like they're born gender. A lot of them. So it's unfortunate, and that's why I feel like right now in the current state of, politics and stuff, with so many different faces trying to advocate and speak up for trans people, it's become blurred. It's confusing because now, you have people who aren't even trans saying that they are. So now onlookers and people who don't know about that, they are confused, and now they're, I don't know, I don't like it. I don't like the fact that, trans people are no longer exclusive. It's become a shit show, and it's like, oh, one day I'm trans. Being trans takes time. You know what I mean? It's not just something that you just wake up and you are. You grow into that. It's an evolution. It's a process. It's not just something that you just wake up and say. You start out as one, and then you turn into the other. You start out as a cross-dresser, you start your hormone therapy, and so on and so on. Non-binary people have done none of that. They have not had surgery. They have not had mental health evaluations about being trans. So, the whole confusion about that to me is asinine, and I would really wish that people would get themselves together and understand what it is to be trans and what it is to be non-binary. There's so many damn labels now, and like I said, we're living in a time where they're trying to cater to everyone and make everyone feel seen, but some of these people are unclear as to exactly who they are. What are your thoughts?
Well, non-binary is, I don't feel that non-binary people are transsexuals, okay? I don't feel that way. And I think that's why I don't like using the word transgender, because when you say transgender, what you mean is that what the interpretation, and I'm hoping that, I'm saying this with so much love, it creates confusion. And so when the confusion is there, it makes people less sensitive to the situation because they're just like, fuck it, I don't want to deal with this. You're a man and you're a woman, and we're just going to leave it as what you were born as because there's too much fucking shit going on. We're not going to keep giving everybody can't get permission to just be confused, and then because a lot of things in life are separated between male and female.
Yeah.
You got sports, you got the bathroom, you got all types of things are categorized as male and female. And so when you mesh men into a women's space, it turns into something else, and vice versa.
I have a question.
Yeah.
For non-binary people and people that identify as they, them, what bathrooms are they using?
Whichever one they want to for that day, whichever they feel in the moment, they can do that. Okay. So that's what I'm saying. So I look at non-binary as more of a political term. I look at it as a political stance. Like, you're like, I have made a decision that I don't identify with men or women. I'm in between, and this is what I am. That's great for you, and I respect you as doing that. But you can't ask to be legally categorized in a situation for that because it's impossible.
Yeah, it is.
You can't control that. That just gives everyone fluidity that's not the way society is set up. And the thing about it is that when you're a transsexual and you identify with the opposite gender, you actually can assimilate into the space, if you put the work in, of your chosen, the gender that you identify with. But if you are non-binary, you really don't do that. That's what you said. You don't claim any of it. So where do we put you? And so it's very confusing, and there's no way that they can regulate it. So that's why they feel like we're all basically that. And so they're just like, fuck it. You're just gonna be what you were born as, and that solves everything. They think that's a quick fix, but it really doesn't solve anything, because it leaves people like myself and like Lala to the point where, okay, so let's say that we do it the way they want us to. When I say they, I mean the conservatives. They want us, let's say we all just say, okay, that's what we're gonna do. Could you imagine? It's gonna be very weird when we're in the men's bathroom. It's gonna be very weird when you have a big, bulky, brawly trans man in the women's bathroom with your daughter or your wife.
Exactly.
It's not gonna be so clear. So it makes more sense to just leave everything as it is and understand that, hey, if you're a person that you're going into a certain space and you keep having problems, you might not need to be there.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
It just might not be for you.
I agree.
You know.
Now, while we're on this topic, I'm going to circle back to the original one, but I'm going to go to the next one, but we'll circle back to this one. Being that we're talking about politics, what is your guys' feelings and opinions on what's going on currently with the new administration literally erasing the T out of LGB, the attack on healthcare, you name it, it's too much going on, but the stuff that's going on politically?
I think that it is absolutely difficult. I was going to use a different word, but it's very difficult to process when you realize that people who have come before you have worked so hard, you know, like ancestors or, you know, just pioneers in our community have worked so hard for us just to have simple rights. And at a moment's notice, an official can come in and try to erase that as if like we are not here. And then not only that, but so many people are willing to allow this to happen. I'm very upset. And, you know, I've spoken about it in my own transparent way on my page and my story a lot. You know, I have a lot of words for people who attach themselves to trans people, because I really feel like all that noise they made really put us in the hot seat. And the way that they're trying to portray us in the media, you know, that's a lot of that is not even our doing. We're not pushing our agendas on children. A lot of my peers that I know don't even do that. The way that they try to portray us in the media, trying to corrupt children and bringing into the schools and, you know, just doing different things. And I'm not going to rip anyone apart on here, but I have a very large I'm very disappointed. Just like, you know, long story short, I'm very disappointed. There's a lot of work to do, again, and we have to stick together. Now's the time that we, like, you know, really make these moves in groups and, you know, show our power, because we can't just be erased. It's not just like, and that hurt me. Like when I seen that government page and they said LGB, and then not only that, then there was, you know, other gays, whether it's lesbians, gay men, or bisexuals, trying to agree in agreement of erasing the T from the LGBT, and we're literally all in the same boat. Like, for the guys, you still getting fucked in the butt. I don't get it. I mean, I have to say it that way. Like, the sex is still the same for everyone who's in the rainbow. So I don't understand why there's so much hate within our community. And that's also another thing that's very, like, that's like that's another thing that's very disheartening to watch. My own community, or our own community, tear us down and then not even want us to be here when trans people have been the pioneers to the population now and what we have.
And we're going to get into that part.
So, first of all, I'm going to say, you mentioned the new administration. I'm going to first say is that I'm proud to be an American, right? I'm an American, right? And I'm proud to be an American, and I love my country, right? And so I don't agree with all the politics of this current administration. I don't disagree with everything that's what's going on with this current administration. I'm not an anti-Trumper, so to speak. That's not me. Because I do think that change needed to happen in a lot of other areas that he is saying that he's going to fix. Because I watched this man campaign and I saw some of the things. Now, when it comes to, I knew that we were going to get hit because his supporters are the hardcore Christian conservatives. You do remember that Donald Trump used to be in the Miss Universe pageant and he let a trans woman compete in the pageant. He was very progressive when he did that. He also had a gay marriage at his home. So I'm not one of those people that's like anti-Trump. Do I agree with how he's handling this current situation that involves the community that I belong to? I do not agree with that because I feel like, but you gotta understand is that people, most straight people, very much agree with what he's doing. People that we care about, people that we fellowship with, people that we work with, people that we're around on a daily basis that are not part of our community, highly, whether they tell you or not, agree with that way of thinking. Like, fuck those faggots. That's the way they're thinking. You have to that's what they're thinking. So he is not alone in that situation. And you would think that a lot of times we can't really rely on other black Americans, because we're black Americans, right? We can't rely on other black, because the reason why, one of the biggest ways that he won this election, the reason why the Democrats lost the election, is because of this very topic. People don't fuck with homosexuals.
Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah.
Even though they let you do their hair, even though they'll let you be their gay friend or style them or all that shit, they really don't fuck with you for real, for real. Mm-hmm. They don't want you around their kids, and they really feel as though we should be eradicated from public life, especially transsexuals, period. Understand that. And so this is what we're dealing with. It's an uphill battle. It's going to be a very hard battle. I don't agree with the fact. I feel like if your ID says F, then fuck it. It just says F. But you know what? I'm not going to cry over it. If I get a passport and it comes back with an M on it, I might say that's right. But guess what? At the end of the day, when I walk out that door, I'm still going to be me. I'm still going to get to be Lisa, no matter what. So that's my mindset to deal with my mental health in this situation, because this is affecting a lot of us in a lot of different ways, because it's right in our face. They're telling us that we're second-class citizens.
Yeah.
How else are we supposed to take it? We are being deemed second-class citizens. And gays, you guys, lesbians, guess what? You're not. This is the moment where you're either going to support us or you're going to run with your privilege. Because right now you have privilege over us trans people. You have privilege over us because you are the population that they're saying you're okay and they are not. And if that's not the message, that's how it feels. So what that means is when they say LGBT only, they're saying that we're gay. They're saying that we're gay men, and we're not. It's a totally different experience. It's a totally different presentation. It's a totally different walk through life, and it's a walk through life that how you gonna respect it in one way and then don't? You can't give us these rights and then take it away just because that's how you feel. We really do exist. We really do exist, and if you really look at it, you have to understand why we do need to be recognized this way. Because if you put us in a box saying that we're just we can't exist as gay men looking and being like this. It doesn't work.
Especially when I go outside and when I go on the phone and talk to a stranger that's a representative and they naturally call me ma'am. People never slip up and say sir or he, ever. I haven't had that happen in a very, very long fucking time because of presentation. And this is a lifestyle, not just me playing in somebody's clothes. You know what I mean? But anyway.
So, it's really hard to argue these points. It's very hard to argue these points because the thing about it is that people say that we're dealing in delusion and we're dealing in our own reality. But just like she said, perception fucking matters.
Yeah.
Whether you want to call it tricking people, whether you want to call it lying to people, whatever you want to call it to define what it is. Simple things that the liberals couldn't answer makes us, it's very confusing to argue. When they ask you a question like, what's a woman? And you fucking can't answer the question, it makes us look like we're retarded. You have to just say it out loud. You just have to get it to the point. Just say a woman is an adult human female. And guess what? I'm a man and I still get to be a woman. Simple as that. Because of the fact that I've taken the steps, I went through a transition that makes me a woman. This was my pathway to womanhood. I'm not the exact same as a biological woman, but the thing about it is that, but right now in this moment, I'm a woman because that's just what it is. I'm a woman for me. I'm a woman to the people that are in my life. So that makes me a woman, period. And you can say, the thing about it is that there's a yes-no, because there's going to be a group of people who are going to disagree with that, but there's a whole lot of people to agree with that. So two people can be right at the same time. And that's how that's going to work for us.
Yeah.
So what do you think the steps we as a community need to take to advocate for, our trans siblings and making sure that, I guess, you guys protected, etc.?
Well, I think the discrimination within the rainbow needs to go, like, right now. Because, like I said, if we can't fight this fight together, I just don't feel like it's gonna end well. You know what I mean? Because you have everyone being separated and just, I don't know. It's just, I know that for me, we need to work better together under, our flag. If we can't work together, then
that has to come first.
Happening?
If there's no inner unity, then it's never gonna work.
It's never gonna
work because at the same time, we can't fight it by ourselves. I'm sorry, but we just can't. So, we're gonna need to be together on that situation, but there's so many gays and lesbians that
would hinder that.
They're fed, they're just like, figure it out, really. And another thing is that, like, as an individual, you fighting really starts with yourself. You have to carry yourself to a certain standard. You know what I'm saying? If you want people to look at you with respect, it comes with itself. So we need to definitely be keeping our noses clean, staying out of trouble. That comes first. Yeah. Everybody needs to do their part as an individual. Trans women right now are under the microscope. If you're doing messy stuff, you gotta kind of, and then especially with the internet now, people want to broadcast their mess. You gotta calm it down because it's making us. We're representing more than just ourselves now because we're under that microscope. Because the only way we're gonna be able to ask for respect is by first giving ourselves self-respect. So that has to come initially first.
Yeah.
And then more people will start respecting us, especially our own. Our own community. They'll start respecting us a little bit more, maybe want to chip in and help. Because the fight is that we just want, like, what are they taking away from us? Our ID. Like, let's clear that one up. And for understanding that, that there is differences amongst us. And that, I just want to say this, I'm going to shut up. You got to remember that once transgender became a political talking point for both sides, mind you. Because me, I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. I refuse to be played with. You can't think that, don't think the Democrats and the liberals love us, because they don't. They use that as their political shit, so that way I don't really so they could, for money, for clout, for all that shit. It's not because they fucking live for us, but what happened was they used that as a push for themselves, for votes. And then what happened was it bit them in the ass, and the Republicans, the conservatives, used it against them and made them look like they were nuts, because you think men are women and women are men, right? That was the talking point, and it fucking worked, and it's still fucking working, because you take, please forgive me, you take a big dude, right, a 6'9" guy, and put him on a women's swimming team, and let him race with the women and claim to be transsexual. Mind you, he yaks women, meaning he fucks girls. He's big as all get out, and say he's a woman and he can swim against other women. And then he clears the women, he beats them, runs circles around them, and then put him on a podium next to them, and then say, this is the fight. These people are crazy. It's very easy to prove that point. They take the most radical, nuttiest, blue-haired, pink-haired, beard women and put them and make them the face of transsexuals.
Yes.
Of course, we look nuts. We look nuts. Look how they did that. That's not by accident. That is not by accident. That's why they push. You have people. You got a influencer. 100. I'm on day 32 of girlhood. Who looks like a woman 32? They're clearing this poor kid, because who looks like a woman 32 days into womanhood? All of us were nuts 32 days into womanhood. You know, you see it all the time. You got these young trans girls. They just started transition. They got a green wig on. You know what I'm saying? They got no breast growth, and they're showing it off on the internet, showing it off. And like, girl, it's not time yet. Put the camera down. Go drink your water in your mouth and come back. That's how that needs to work. But they take these clips, these edits, and they push these people into the algorithm, and now this is what people are seeing, and they think that we're all cuckoo for cocoa.
A lot of the people that I've seen, like I said, advocating on the news outlets, like when they'll be in the spotlight, and they were said to be trans, they honestly look like they would be referred to as they, them, or non-binary, like
clownery.
It becomes confusing, and it's like it almost took away the actual identity of trans.
Which everyone deserves to express themselves how they want to. Everyone deserves to be seen and heard and
which
loved.
Is fine.
And that's fine. We're not
but know who you are.
But you got to understand is that the powers that be, you know, rich, powerful people have an agenda to meet votes, more power, more money, more everything. When they have a point to prove, they're going to get the bottom of the gutter, to prove that these people and that their ideology is a circus. And it wasn't hard to do. It wasn't hard to do. They just, they're up there. It's everywhere. So they just took that, but that's not the face of, that should not be the face of what it means to be a transsexual.
No.
Because that's a totally different experience for a lot of us. A lot of us are very humble. A lot of us don't attack people when we get misgendered. A lot of us will act like we didn't even hear it.
A lot of us are products of society who are well respected, have 9 to 5s, who go to school, who have family
that
members
pay taxes.
Yes, and so many different things, and who are leaders and just do a lot of good for the community. You know what I mean? And that's never the highlight. That's never the highlight of actual trans individuals in their prime or doing good. That's never ever the highlight. It's always the brick or the just the unfortunate circumstances, like that girl who had stabbed up that guy in Harlem. They took that and they ran with it. Yes, granted she may have been wrong, but that was another point to push the fact that these individuals are nuts.
Right. Yeah.
And but unfortunately, you know, that's what they want society to believe.
And like I said, it wasn't hard for them to convince the public of this. And so what this has done, the last 4 years, okay, because, you know, like I said, I don't belong to either one political party. Biden, clownery. Trump, lunacy. He said we're lunacy, but look what you're doing. So the thing about it is, because the temperature in the country right now is crazy. The temperature is crazy right now.
And also, speaking about his support from the extreme conservatives, you know, the Christians, outside of that support, but the other support that he gets from other countries, though, like the Islams, and you know, he's talking about getting, what was it, the 600 million from the prince. Their values are the same.
Yeah.
So if they're getting budgets from these people, their ideologies are, I believe, are being pushed onto what Trump has to do as well. So, you know what I mean?
I'm telling, like, the girls, like, girl, more than likely, being that they think that we're dealing with not reality and that we're mostly delusional and that we're sick in the head, that's the message. More than likely, I hate to say it, but, like, we're not gonna win when it comes to this administration. Like, you know, there are a lot of people, and there's a lot of people that, like I said, that are close to us, that are black like us, and even other gays and lesbians and stuff like that, that really agree with these policies that affect trans people. And so we're such a small, tiny little percentage that to fight, before when they were fighting for these type of rights, we were a unit, we were all together, we were all as one, and we have lots and lots of allies. Right now, we really don't. We don't. And
yeah,
so
but that's gonna take, that's part of the work. That's gonna have to, like, we're gonna have to, you know, as a community, it's gonna have to be pushed.
And the work starts with yourself. I think everyone needs to be accountable.
It's gonna be a whole other civil rights movement.
It starts with yourself.
We are on the brink of another civil rights movement, I feel, and not even just for trans people, but for black people as well, black and brown people as well. You know, because rights are trying to be erased. So.
And the reason why, like, we're even spending that much time on this topic is because this particular climate that we are in this country, it's got people very emotional. Mm-hmm. You have people who are feeling like they support all the executive orders, they really are behind it. And I'm gonna be honest, the presentation looks great. I listened to his press secretary, she's very on point. She is ironclad, like she is, I listened to her. The people that, what his presentation is giving right now is so, he's won a lot of the people's support, and so going up against it right now is going to be very difficult. I'm not saying it's impossible. When it comes, I'm only speaking I'm only speaking about transsexuals like myself, like how things are going to get better for us, and it's going to be an uphill battle. So, and I don't know what the strategy is because I'm not a strategist and I don't know the strategy. Like I said, I'm taking ownership and I'm doing the best I can to be the best representation I can for myself and for my community. What I do as an individual, and I strongly suggest everyone follow that because that is going to make a big difference. If you out here wilding, if you out here putting yourself in the internet, being a bug out in a lot of ways, harming people and harming yourself, it's gonna come back to bite us in the ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love is the highest vibration.